Pete Alonso recently broke the Mets home run record. What are some home runs of his that stick out to you?
Oh man, some homers that stick out. I remember the one he hit in Minnesota. I think that's as far as on the upper deck. I mean, it looked like it was leaving the stadium. So, I think the one that he hit, last year in Milwaukee was, pretty exciting. I mean, I wasn't even there for that one. I was in the delivery room for that one.
Wait a second, for the playoffs?
Yeah, for the playoffs. I was my daughter was being born, so I was in California.
You watched that in the delivery room?
Yeah, and I remember in the 9th inning going, like, this big time situation, and my wife just goes, "Do not scream!" Like if something happens and he hits a home run, and I'm, trying to, contain myself in there. And
welcome to Meet at the Apple, presented by PC Richard & Son. I'm Vito Calisi. That's Jonathan Barron. And at the top, a few important reminders. 1, Monday, September 8th. That is this upcoming Monday. John and I will be at the PC Richard & Son in Astoria, where we got so many giveaways, John. We got some signed baseball, a signed hat by Kodai Senga, some Mets tickets, but
you going to be dressed like that, or?
Maybe.
Maybe?
Maybe.
I didn't know you were dressing like that for this.
Yeah, no, man. This is my new look. But I didn't even bring up the biggest thing we're giving out at PC Richard & Son. Why don't you tell people?
A $500 gift card, courtesy of our friends at PC Richard & Son. So we gave that out last time. We were there back in late June. We'll be doing it again. Mr. and Mrs. Met will be there. A surprise guest will be there with us. Like you mentioned, Vito, tons of signed balls, tons of giveaways. So come join us. Mets and Phillies will also be on for the first hour of the game. So a lot of fun. We know a lot of Mets fans in Astoria. One is right here. And you guys can walk. Maybe we'll go out after. Who knows?
I was going to tell you, there is a bar we could go to a block away.
I had a feeling that it could spill into more than just the event itself. But
let's just say...
I don't know what that means, but still don't know what that means. Something with a pig. Got it.
Big Beach is a block away, so we could always wander over there. But the most important thing is PC Richard at the top. And you brought up the mascots.
Yes.
And I want to tell people about September 13th, Mrs. Met's birthday party, September 13th at Citi Field.
Yes, Mrs. Met is celebrating her birthday, like you mentioned, Vito. Before the game, there will be a party for Mrs. Met in the bullpen plaza. Here's the key. You've got to have a ticket to the game itself. This, of course, is the alumni game as well. If you've got a ticket and you want to be there to celebrate Mrs. Met, you can add on to your ticket and join the festivities. Fun, music, prizes. Obviously, Mrs. Met, the birthday girl herself, will be there. So make sure if you're coming to the game on the 13th, you already got the Alumni Classic lined up. Make sure, add to the day, add to the festivities, Mrs. Met's birthday before the game, and then throughout the day, we'll be celebrating her as well. But it's going to be an awesome event, so you want to be there. Go to Mets.com. You can find out more information. That's where you could buy that add-on to your ticket. Good call, Vito.
And before we get on to the actual baseball of this episode, I do have one last thing to promote, to mention. At the end of today's episode, we will be playing an interview we recorded with Jeff McNeil just a few days ago. You saw the interviews we did with Brett Baty, Mark Vientos, and Carlos Mendoza. This one is just like those. It's awesome. We get to know them personally. We talk a little bit about baseball. Jeff is going to talk to us about his side of the Brett Baty hugging situation, so stay tuned for that. And also, like I say in every episode, please rate, review, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating. It goes such a long way. It really helps the podcast grow. Every time I check, go look at the reviews. I see a few of you have left a comment that week. It really helps us out. So please, Meet at the Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Please go leave a review. Also, if you're listening, throw up an IG story. Tag us, me and John. I'm at Vito F. Calisi on Twitter, John at JMB9191 everywhere. So please do that for us. But John, I'm fired up right now, and I feel like this is the kind of episode where we just should get it over with. It started off with the top 5.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of good moments.
More than 5.
I think definitely more than 5 in a series where the Mets take 2 of 3 against the first place team in the American League Central. So I know a lot of Mets fans are out there feeling a little befuddled. Sweep the first place Phillies, lose 3 or 4 at home to the Marlins, go on the road, take 2 of 3 from a Detroit Tiger team that's going to be playing October baseball after doing so last year. But the Mets made a statement, and they won a couple of games with big offensive outbursts. Monday's game, a back and forth, hold on to your butts, to steal a phrase from you. And then on Tuesday, the stud, earns a victory again, settles down, Mets offense explodes. And of course, the classic Mets lose the getaway day game to...
That's how our podcast runs.
That's how it goes. The classic. But let's get into the top 5, Vito.
The top 5 moments of Mets Tigers presented by PC Richard & Son. Number 5 is kind of an all-encompassing one, John. This is the shenanigans that Juan Soto pulled off for the last few days. We'll get into the offensive stuff later in the game, but just the absolute fun. I mean, my favorite one personally was the Juan Cena throwing up the "you can't see me" after the home run. We saw it a few days ago, but I mean, there was more than that.
Yeah, he homered on Tuesday night, turned around, gave the catcher a bit of a stare down, stealing bases, nonchalantly robbing home runs, what would have been home runs. It was quite a series for Juan Soto out in Detroit, and the conversation starting to begin. Can Juan Soto creep into and possibly win the National League MVP? He said it himself that this is the time of the year where teams emerge and teams rise. In the 2019 Nationals, the one time Juan Soto did hoist the Commissioner's Trophy back in 2019, this time the Nationals weren't even in the postseason. And we know what they went on to do. So he's right. You get hot at the right time, and you could be the champion come the end of October. And right now, Juan Soto is playing like a guy who is ready to put his team on his back, hopefully on the road to a World Series title.
All right, number 4, Luis Torrens' 3-run home run, which I was excited to see because we've talked about this in weeks past, but sometimes Luis Torrens can be the unluckiest guy in baseball. The guy will hit a ball 110 miles an hour and it just somehow finds a glove, but seeing him actually be able to go yard, electric.
That was huge because it gave Nolan McLean the lead back. I'm sure it gave him a bit of comfort in the dugout after he gave up the 2 quick runs, and we obviously saw Nolan settle in, retired the last 14, but it took the lead right back, as I mentioned, after Luis Torrens had a 2-run double on Monday. So a big series for Luis Torrens, who has been great in the absence of Francisco Alvarez. Alvey obviously was so good when he came back from AAA, and he took the lion's share of the at-bats away from Torrens. Torrens' OPS over 900, right around 1,000 since Alvey went down. So the production from the catcher spot, the Mets really haven't lost much, even with Alvey going down. Obviously, he's been rehabbing down for AAA Syracuse, but tip of the cap, hats off to Luis Torrens for doing a great job sustaining the offensive production, which most teams just simply do not get from that spot. And that's what separates a good lineup from a great lineup. When you can get offensive impact from the areas like catcher, it's rare in this game today.
100%. Now, number 3, John. Number 3, this one is specifically for you.
Okay, thank you.
Number 3 is Pete Alonso going yard off Chris Paddack. And I do that because there's nobody I know that works at the Mets that loves to bring that 2019 Rookie of the Month award more than you.
Well, it's funny how the 2 careers have gone in kind of different directions. Obviously, Chris Paddack was very vocal about the April 2019 NL Rookie of the Month award, and Pete Alonso kind of shrugged his shoulders and was like, yeah, whatever. Just that year alone, Pete Alonso wins the Rookie of the Year, sets the single-season rookie home run record, and 5-6 years later is now the Mets' all-time home runs king. Chris Paddack is pitching in relief for the Detroit Tigers, and when Paddack came in the game, I looked and saw how far away Pete was. And when it became pretty evident that Pete was going to get a chance at Paddack, I said, man, I hope that he does this. And he got his chance, and he hit the home run. And Pete was a professional about it, didn't say a word. But myself and many other Mets fans were reveling in the moment, as was the Mets social media account, making the reference about the 2019 NL Rookie of the Month for the month of August. April. It was a fun moment for Pete Alonso. Just another home run as he continues to extend his franchise record. We'll see where he maxes out. I want 40 for Pete Alonso. How about that? I want 40. 7 away. Give me 40.
I made a bold prediction before the season that would be really tough for him to pull off. But before the season, I think I said 42 or more for Pete this year.
Give me 40. It's right. It's within striking distance. He's done 7 in a month.
And I have a question for Hunter.
Yeah.
And I'm going to film Hunter, and maybe we can even fit this into the episode. Hunter.
Yeah.
When the Chris Paddack, when Pete Alonso went yard off Chris Paddack, were you prepared? Were you thinking about that going in? Were you ready to post something?
1,000%. I had it prepped. I was ready. I was watching the game I was actually listening to the game with my girlfriend because I like to listen to the game on the radio when I'm working because it's that much more live ahead of.
Shout out Keith
and Pat on the road. But yeah, I turned to her. I said, if Pete goes deep, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna figure something out how to word it. And thankfully for all of us, he did.
He did,
and it did well. The tweet did pretty well. I think it got.
All right, let's not go patting ourselves on the back now. That's unbecoming of you. All right, you know what? Enough of you, Hunter.
Thanks,
Number
Vito.
2.
Okay.
Number 2. You're talking about the broadcast. You're talking about the radio broadcast. First time ever on this show, because last week we talked about the Phillies postgame, but it's rare we talk about the opposing team's in-game broadcast. we got to give a shout out. Nolan McLean absolutely breaks Mets Twitter, breaks the broadcast by getting so much love. And McLean Day, like we said last week, has become such a special thing, John.
Yeah, I remember Gelbs did a sideline hit after McLean pitched on Friday in Atlanta. He said he went into the other team's clubhouse, the Braves clubhouse. This was in Atlanta, and tried to get some intel from the Braves, the guys that were having to face him, and what they thought about McLean live. And the overarching feedback was that it was some of the best stuff that they had seen all season long. And then you had that again with Jason Benetti in the Tigers broadcast booth, and obviously they've seen a bunch of American League pitchers all year and just pitchers around baseball. And they said that this is some of the best stuff they have seen as well. So when you continue to hear that, I think it validates it a bit more, and it really makes it, I don't think believable is the word, but it gives it a bit more credence. Through just 4 big league starts for Nolan McLean, you continue to hear this. And I saw someone tweet this earlier today. I forget who it was, but throwing a fastball is not all about velocity. It's not all about speed. It's about spin as well. And it's about missing barrel and the shape of your fastball. Nolan McLean not only has 28 strikeouts through his first 4 starts, he also has a ground ball rate around 68%. So no one is squaring him up. No one is barreling him up. Even with the 2 runs he allowed on Tuesday night, he issued a couple walks. He got himself in a bit of trouble after not walking anybody in his 2 previous starts combined. The one pitch we're talking about to Dylan Dingler was a sinker that had over 32 inches of downward movement. And you compare that with the sweeper he throws away to the righty and down and into the lefty. It's just truly, truly untouchable. The backdoor 2-seam / sinker that he throws, that he's been painting on the inside corner to lefties. He's got a deep arsenal. He's got electric stuff. He spins the ball incredibly well. Even when he's throwing the fastball, his 4-seamer has rising action. The sinker is disgusting, as we're talking about in the Tiger broadcast booth talks about. What more can you say about Nolan McLean? The last guy to win each of his first 4 career starts was Chase Anderson back in 2014. And if you look at the stuff that Chase Anderson and Nolan McLean both have, Chase Anderson back then, Nolan McLean today, not in the same ballpark, not in the same stratosphere. I can't wait to see Nolan McLean pitch again. I was almost disappointed the Mets scored as many runs as they did in the 7th inning on Tuesday night, because I wanted to watch him continue on. And obviously, once the game was 12-2, you knew that the Mets would go to the bullpen. There was no need to have him continue to use bullets. His next start is Sunday, scheduled in Cincinnati. But I was kind of disappointed because I just enjoy watching this guy confuse and carve opposing lineups. It is a thing of beauty, and the Mets have themselves a special, special pitcher.
So we need something more than McLean Day. I know we had Harvey Day, but I feel like we need to come up with something better than McLean Day. So I invite people to leave a comment below. Come up with what we should call when a McLean start is going on at Citi Field. I saw Athlete Logos put up a Lightning McQueen type thing for him. I know that you guys on the K board have been doing lightning bolts for him, but I feel like we got to figure out what that day is going to be called.
So far, it's been Win Day, and I like that. We all like that.
I thought maybe McLean Slate. Nope. This is going over like...
We'll work on it.
This is like going over like the Syracuse Cuties.
We'll work on it.
All right. The number 1 moment of Mets Tigers all season, you've been waiting for it. You've been waiting for that Juan Soto moment. We saw one the other day against Miami when Juan Soto tied things up, and that felt like it was it. But Juan Soto's grand slam against the Tigers felt so emphatic. It had so much swagger. It felt so good. And John, I jumped up off my couch and screamed when it happened.
Well, it was the first home run he's hit with multiple runners on base, as we all know. In a big spot, 2 outs, 2 strikes. Mets trying to take the lead back from the Tigers against a thorn in the side for many, many years in Charlie Morton. And I've noticed something about Soto's home runs. This goes back to the 2024 ALCS and even further back. The one he hit against Hunter Gaddis, where I think it was Ernie Johnson on the call on TBS. Off the bat, the announcers, I feel like, get fooled by Soto home runs because he hits the ball so damn high.
Yeah.
But he also puts such a charge into it because he's so strong, and his mechanics and his barrel gets through the strike zone so quickly that even with how high he hits the ball, it's still traveling. These are not pop-ups. He knows. When you watch Soto in the box, his reaction, he'll stand there for a second. He knows it's gone. That was an instance. The home run he hit on Tuesday night was also an instance where even Gary Cohen, I think, was a little bit fooled immediately off the bat because the initial trajectory of the ball and because outfielders look like they feel like they have a beat on it because of how high it is, but it's not just high, it's also far. And there's been 37 times where it's been high, far, and gone with Juan Soto. The grand slam, obviously, being the biggest at this point, that huge clutch home run, like we said, with multiple runners on base, second career grand slam, which is kind of mind-boggling for Juan Soto to only have 2. But I was talking with you about this, and the teams that Juan Soto has been a member of throughout his career, when they've been in the postseason. So this is 2019 Nationals, 2022 Padres, and 2024 Yankees. All of those teams have made pretty deep runs. The Nationals won the World Series in 2019. Padres went to the NLCS in 2022, beating the Dodgers, and the Yankees obviously went to the World Series as well. And Soto is such a big part of all of these lineups. Opposing teams are counting how many guys away he is in the lineup. Because in the postseason, as we know, every single 90 feet matters so much. Every single pitch matters so much. The Hunter Gaddis at bat I talked about before, he was fouling tough changeups off, 2 strikes, staying alive, not going down, staring at Gaddis, pretty much telling him through his body language, you're not going to get me, dude. It's not going to happen. I got this. I got you. And eventually it winds up with a 3-run home run that sends the Yankees to the World Series. He makes opposing pitchers throw the kitchen sink. The rest of the lineup gets to see it. He tires opposing pitchers out. This guy is a difference maker in the regular season. He is an even bigger difference maker in the postseason. I think it's almost not quantifiable how important he is to a lineup in the postseason. I don't think there's any coincidence that when he and his team get in the playoffs, they have success. I need Juan Soto, October Mets baseball, like I need air. He is that impactful. He is worth more because of his postseason impact, in my opinion, than whatever the check says.
I mean, dude, this weekend is basically going to be like playoff baseball. The way last year where we get those, like that first Cubs series in what was that, in June, where it felt like it was going to have playoff implications. But I mean, this one even more so because this isn't for the flex game. This isn't for the
not a tiebreaker.
No, this isn't for the tiebreaker. This is for against a team that's right behind us right now that you really need to put in the rearview mirror now, because that last week of the season especially is going to be a gauntlet and you want to be really cushioned. So
you do.
I'm excited to see Juan Soto at Great American Ballpark. I'm also excited to see a great Canadian pitch at Great American Ballpark.
Yeah, it'll be Jonah Tong going in this series. So right now the Mets do not have a starter announced for Friday. Jonah Tong making his second start and his first start on the road on Saturday. And this is going to be a hostile environment for sure for Jonah and the entire Mets team. Like you said, the Reds are right on the Mets' tails with the head-to-head 3 games this weekend. So Cincinnati can make big inroads if they can beat the Mets. For the Mets, the important part here, I know it kind of sounds obvious, but we know what the worst-case scenario is here. Obviously, being swept is the worst-case scenario in a 3-game series.
You know what we should just call it, because it'll be an inside thing for us that we don't have to say it out loud?
What?
Call it dated water bottles.
That was because that was the one outcome you couldn't have. We're talking about 2022, the series in Atlanta, late September, where all the Mets had to do was win 1 game, and they would have been fine. We know how that ended. Now,
but we went to a bar party where they gave out water bottles with all the dates on it. We can say this now. We did call them tombstones. So
yeah,
dated water bottles means don't get swept.
If you don't get swept, you're in a fine spot. If the Mets don't get swept, let's say they lose 2 out of 3, which would still stink. But if you lose 2 out of 3, you're only giving up 1 game in the standings. If you win 2 out of 3, you gain 1 game in the standings, and the Reds don't have that direct head-to-head on you anymore. And, you know, the tiebreaker could come into play.
Yeah.
It could come into play with the Reds. It is a possibility. The Reds took 2 or 3 from the Mets here, July 18, 19, and 20. So you want to take 2 out of 3. You want to sweep, right? The Mets sweep. They all but lock themselves up a playoff spot. And like we said, Friday night, no starter announced quite yet. Saturday, Jonah Tong, and then Sunday, Nolan McLean looking to make it 5 straight. So, you know, that's going to be big-time baseball. The Cincinnati fans, they've been thirsting for a playoff team. Terry Francona has that city believing, has that team playing good baseball. Obviously, we know Elly De La Cruz, one of the most talented players in the game. Hunter Green is back. He wasn't in the Reds rotation when these 2 teams met up in middle of July. So, off day Thursday, rested bullpen on Friday. Go get him. That's it.
Man, that's going to be in a really exciting weekend, man. That's going to be high-intensity baseball. You're going to be watching them. And then to go into Philly after that to 4 games that matter for a whole other reason because the division isn't lost yet.
Not at all. And, like I just said, for the Mets, don't get swept. Well, the Phillies are saying, let's not get swept. But they just did get swept by the Mets. And clearly, the Mets have something against the Phillies. I think it has a lot to do with the Mets have some pretty high-octane arms that generate a lot of swing and miss, and the middle of that Phillies lineup is pretty prone to swing and miss, as we saw last week with Schwarber and Harper and Castellanos and a couple of other guys. But, the Mets do have a chance, like the Reds have with the Mets head-to-head. The Mets have the same chance to make those serious inroads on the Phillies and make that a race for the last 2.5, 3 weeks of the season. And, of course, the Mets will come back to Citi Field for a 9-game, 10-day homestand. So they play the Padres. The Mets are riding on the Padres' tails for the second wild card spot right now. Mets go to Chicago the last week of the season. The Mets could possibly take over the Cubs for the first wild card spot. A lot of possibilities here. Obviously, the name of the game, win today.
Mm-hmm.
David Stearns is saying, I love that saying, win today. You do that. You take it a day at a time. You look up, just get me to October baseball. That's all I ask.
Hey, Hunter, I got a question. Did you ever find out from your friend in Philly why they didn't play?
He said there was no reason.
Did you see this?
He said
the Phillies, for some reason, played Monday in Milwaukee, off day yesterday, played again today.
Yeah, it's weird.
There's been some weird off days this year.
He said the Brewers did play what he thought was 19 games in 18 days. Not that should have anything to do with it, where they should have off a random Tuesday. But it's just a weird,
I wonder.
strange scheduling.
Next year, when we're in Philly, there's an off day in the middle of our series, but Hunter was able to find out why there's an off day.
Concert?
No, the Link is hosting a World Cup match that day.
Okay.
Which somewhat makes sense because I think it's
because they might
complex.
have overflow.
Yeah, but
they'll have overflow.
Nothing's around American Life Family Field that I was thinking, is there something in Wisconsin that's happening? But
I don't know.
No, I saw that today and I was like I need to know what's happening. And so,
see what happened with the Mets in Houston earlier this year.
Well,
that I
means,
get because Apple took the
they
Friday
flexed
game.
it. Yeah.
So that's why that happened. I've never seen a play Monday, not play Tuesday, continue the series Wednesday, Thursday, especially in Milwaukee where they have a roof, albeit it doesn't always work. But
Tuesday is usually a 15-game slate.
Oh yeah, Tuesday everyone plays.
Yeah, so
So if you are a fan of this podcast and you work for the Phillies or the Brewers,
why would they be
or Major League Baseball? I don't know, man. I don't
Scouting.
know. Yeah. Let us know.
Those are the two teams the Mets beat in the playoffs last year. Maybe they're hate listening.
Yeah. Good point.
That's fair.
Don't you feel silly now?
I do.
Don't you feel silly, little boy?
I do feel silly. That's a bad point by me. I'm sorry.
All right. Before we get out of this episode, we do have a really awesome interview with Jeff McNeil to play for you guys. So why don't we play that interview with Jeff McNeil and then we hop out and wrap this thing up. Welcome to Meet at the Apple, presented by PC Richard & Son. I'm Vito Calisi. That's Jonathan Barron, and we're joined by Jeff McNeil. And Jeff, I'm going to start this interview off the same way we started off with Brett Baty the other day, talking about how Brett Baty mauls you after every win. I want your perspective from it. Baty told us why he started doing it, told us your reaction. I want to know your reaction to him doing it and what it's going to take for you to do it back to him.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly when it started, but yeah, he just, jumps on my back. I'm a pretty serious guy, so, I know he's trying to have some fun with me, get a smile out of me. So, it's our little thing.
Jeff, right now, it seems like you're having a great time. The whole team is buzzing. You tied the game on Monday night against Christopher Sanchez, and you slid into second base, and you gave an emphatic hit celebration to the dugout. We remember Happy Jeff last year. Is this team, are you having the most fun right now that you've ever had in your big league career?
Yeah, no, it's a fun team, and, that was a big hit, and I was just super excited there, and, Sanchez was a tough pitcher, so I hadn't had a lot of success off of him before, so, getting that hit was, just a lot of fun there, and, but, yeah, no, we're having some fun, and, just want to play some good baseball, get back to the playoffs.
So, going back in your career, you've had the same walk-up music for most of it. You briefly went to Welcome to New York for a little. I know you come out to What Dreams Are Made Of when on Women's Day usually, but Rock of Ages is your 95% of the time walk-up music. I just want to know why you chose that and why it stayed for this whole time.
Yeah, just, like the song. I like the movie. It's in Balls of Fury. It's Randy Daytona's walkout song, I think. So I think that's where I kind of got it. Just enjoy the song, and I think the fans like it, and I like it, and it's been working.
So the song has been pretty consistent throughout your career, but the positions that you've been playing, you've been adding to your ledger. Center field, it's been a seamless transition. You've been a plus defender there on top of being a plus defender at second base, which makes you an even more valuable player. Honestly, one of the most valuable players for our money in the National League. Talk about your transition in center field. I know earlier, before you came up, you had the injury in spring training. You played a little center field during your rehab, but now you're making diving catches, robbing guys at the fence. How cool is it for you to play that new position and have the success you've had doing so?
Yeah. I think center field was one of my favorite positions to play. Played a lot in college, and when I got drafted as a infielder. I played a lot of second and third, and something I always wanted to do was play center field, play outfield, and they never really gave me that opportunity in the minor leagues until I was kind of knocking on the door of the big leagues. They said, go play some outfield, go play some left field, and that was my first experience of outfield and pro ball was left field, and I knew that in order for me to kind of stay in the big leagues, I think my versatility was going to be a huge thing. So just happy I got to finally get out there, and they called me this year, said, hey, do you want to play some center field? And he said, yeah, I'd love to. I've always been taking fly balls in center field, kind of my whole career, just showing them I can do it, and just never really got an opportunity. So got the opportunity this year, and I think I made the most of it.
You talk about when you were knocking on the door of the big leagues. You made your debut July 24th, 2018. So I kind of look at this as like the pre-COVID Mets, post-COVID Mets. It's you, it's Brandon, it's Pete, really the pillars of the pre-COVID Mets. And you guys have been here ever since. When you look at the Mets, when you first came up back in 2018, and you look at the organization where it is now, the enhancements in the stadium, the brand new scoreboard, just everything that's changed, of course, new ownership. What's your perspective on how far things have come here?
Yeah, I've seen a lot here. Just being here for 7 years, and things that have changed, and we're evolving, and I think it's been a great thing. I think when Steve took over the team, it was awesome, and I feel like anything that the players need, we can get. We have the best resources out there, and just to see how much it's changed. It's been fun.
All right, so I want to go back to your positional flexibility because I've seen conflicting reports on something. I've seen that the emergency catcher is you, and I've seen it's Tyrone Taylor. Right now, is it you?
I have no idea. I would imagine it's probably me.
And are you still? I saw that you have a goal of you want to play all 9 positions at some point in your big league career. You've played 7. So is a piece of you like hoping at some point you might get to put on the catcher's gear and start to fill that up? Because position pitcher is easy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you want to play catcher in a close game, but if we're some kind of blowout or something, or last game of the year or something, I don't want to be the reason a team loses a game because I'm catching, and that's usually not a good thing because our catchers went down. So, but just to do it maybe in a fun environment, last game of the season, it doesn't matter, have some fun, and probably later in my career, love to play all 9. That'd be fun.
All right. There's this thing that I've been dying to ask you about. On social media, about a year ago, you took the Instagram story. You seemed to be in a pickle. You did an all call to Mets fans. You needed a plumber. And everyone was wondering what was going on in the McNeil household. Did Willow have an accident? So this is the opportunity. Set the story straight. What was going on, and then who came to the rescue?
Yeah, my basement flooded. Got home from a road trip, and there's a couple inches of water down in our basement, and not sure where it was coming from, and so yeah, needed help. Wasn't sure really where it was coming from, and so it was in my basement, and then we just got home. It was me and Danny Young. He was staying in the basement, and he saw a leak. I said, I think we got a problem. I go, no, and I went down there, and then I go upstairs my kitchen, and kitchen's flooded too. So it was coming from our kitchen. I think a pipe burst behind our stove. I think it was a pot filler, and flooded the basement. And luckily, we had someone there in the morning, and helped clean it up, and took care of the construction for the basement, and back to normal.
All right, that's not that. I thought it was worse. I'll be honest.
No, it's nothing too crazy. Just it was just me and him at home, and figured we need someone to help.
Yeah, why not? Why not use your resources?
Yeah, no, we ended up hooking up with a guy who took care of everything we needed to take care of, and all good now.
All right, so right now is a really exciting time for Mets fans. Team is looking in a playoff race going into the end of the season, and right now this young talent is coming up, and it seems from an outside look that kind of reinvigorates a team. And when Nolan McLean came up, it just excites guys, and we've talked to a few other guys who said that there's something about that young energy that comes in that helps everything. Do you feel that? Like when Nolan McLean made that first start, did you guys all feel the energy that was coming in from the minor leagues?
Yeah, absolutely. He's filthy. I got to watch him pitch in the minor leagues on a rehab assignment too. So, I was familiar with, how good he was, and you just see the success he's had in the minor leagues. And, at a point in the season where I feel like we needed, something to get going. And, he came up here and, didn't have to be a savior to us, but, just needed to go out there and, do his thing. And, he's been pitching great, and it's been fun to watch. And, we got Tong pitching tonight, so, hopefully he can kind of do the same thing.
That's a young guy. A teammate of yours for a long time, Pete Alonso, recently broke the Mets home run record, and you've been witness to pretty much all of his home runs. You guys have been teammates for the entirety of Pete's career. What are some home runs of his that stick out to you? And this is your fantasy football partner, by the way, which we'll get to after.
Yeah. Oh, man, some homers that stick out. I remember the one he hit in Minnesota. I think that's as far as on the upper deck. I mean, it looked like it was leaving the stadium. So, that was pretty cool. And, I think the one that he hit, last year in Milwaukee was, pretty exciting. I mean, I wasn't even there for that one. I was in a delivery room for that one,
Wait a second, for the playoffs?
Yeah, for the playoffs. I was, my daughter was being born, so I was in California.
You watched that in the delivery room?
Yeah, and I remember in the ninth inning going, like, this is this big time situation, and my wife just goes, "Do not scream!" Like if something happens and he hits a home run, and I'm trying to contain myself in there, and it was exciting moment, and
That'd be like the coolest night of your life.
Yeah, I had my daughter born. That was probably about 12, 14 hours later, but just watching the game in the living room, and
then that happens casually.
So it was a fun day.
I was watching Mets Dodgers on just a random Sunday night game this year when my daughter was born. So it's a little bit different energy. But my wife was like, "Don't you dare tell me a thing about the game in this 12-hour process."
Yeah, no, we weren't too far in the process. So we were all watching the game, but just trying to give her some peace.
How about the fantasy football part? We talked to Brett. So Brett told us that you and he are really the owners, the managers of the team. You're making the day-to-day decisions, and then Pete is kind of a hanger-oner. It sounds like
Pete's the silent partner.
So this is the coined phrase of how Pete operates here.
Yeah, no, Pete. I don't know where Pete is half the time in the off season. He's usually in Europe or somewhere. He's on vacation. So we talk a little bit, but usually the day-to-day fantasy football, is going to go through Brett, and usually I get a call from Pete usually about week 5. Go, "Hey, how's our team doing?"
He's not even checking on the app himself.
He doesn't really, participate too much, but he wants to know, how we're doing, and he's not usually there for the draft either. So me and Brett will run the draft, and I want to say like I'm probably president of football operations.
Okay.
Baty's probably the GM, and
so you're in charge. You're the head honcho.
I'm in charge. Everything's got to go through me, and then. But the day-to-day operations, I'm going to give that to Brett, and just if anything needs to be done, let me know.
Okay, so what about if you guys win? Is it an even 3-way split with Pete kind of like that? That doesn't seem fair.
Yeah. I mean, Pete's putting in the money, so I think.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Pete.
So Pete's the owner.
Me and Pete are the owner.
Okay.
So we'll go half, and then Baty is we're gonna not charge him anything, but he's got to run the team.
So can we talk a little bit more of that relationship you have with Brett? Because he was telling us about how close you guys have gotten this year, how you've helped him get used to second base, and just talk about just a little bit of how you've kind of taken him under your wing in the last few seasons.
Yeah, he's been great. Just to see, how far he's come, and, being a third baseman only, kind of the minor leagues. And I know he's experimented a little bit, with the outfield, but, for him to for him to be able to go to second base, it's been huge. It allows me to, kind of go to the outfield as well, use my versatility as well. So, it's been, great to see what he's been doing and, just see how far his bats come. He's had a, big spring training. So, was looking forward to, seeing what he could do this year. And, he's taking professional bats and, it's just been fun. And yeah, we've been getting along really well. We go to dinner on the road, talk a lot. So it's been good to see him grow and, had success he's having.
Brett's had a great year. You guys have all had a lot of great seasons and a lot of great moments here at Citi Field, this homestand especially. You guys sweep the Phillies. How great is it? How important is it for you guys in the dugout, on the diamond, to be supported by the Mets fans who have come out in droves this year to support you? Top 5 attendance ranking in all of baseball, a huge homestand coming up in September. What's your message to the Mets fans from the players themselves of how important their support is to you guys?
Yeah, it's been huge. Especially playing the Phillies on a weekday series. It was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So those aren't usually the biggest crowds. So to see them show up, I think it was sold out. I mean, I don't know if sold out, but it was packed and loud and a lot of fun.
Outdrew the Yankees on all 3 games.
Yankee fans got pissed off about that.
that's been huge, but these games coming up are huge, and we gotta play well, and I think we have an advantage while we're at home, and when the fans bring the energy and the noise, it helps us out a lot. Even when we're down, we start a little comeback. They get loud, and just helps the boys go. Helps the boys go. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, and then just really quick, what's it going to take? Are you ever going to jump on Brett?
We'll see. We'll surprise some people someday, maybe.
Cool. Maybe a clincher. Maybe a clincher.
We'll see.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Thank you guys for listening. See you next time at the Apple.
Dude, I am so stoked on Jeff McNeil. I really am. We talk about the length of this lineup, and I remember Francisco Alvarez back in spring training said that he thinks it's the deepest lineup in baseball, and he said deeper than the Los Angeles Dodgers. And a huge part of that is Jeff McNeil having the kind of season that he's having right now, OPSing over 800. He's been hitting for power recently. He's been playing all over the place, so you can get his bat in the lineup in different ways. But he has been an on-base machine. That's his game. That is his game. We are seeing the 2019 Jeff McNeil, the 2022 Jeff McNeil. He's having fun. He is such an important part of this lineup, being such a pain in the rear for opposing managers, opposing pitchers to navigate when you get past Soto, Lindor, Alonso, not in any particular order. Viento's hitting now. Brett Baty's been really good. Another huge part of a deep lineup. And then you get to the bottom of the lineup and crap, I still have to deal with McNeil as I'm trying to get through this thing. And then right at the top waiting for me is Lindor once again. Such a huge part of the lineup, and he has been delivering really all season long since he came back. This is a damn good baseball player. He does a lot for this Mets team. So it was really cool to get to talk to him, especially hear from him while he's having this really great season.
It was awesome, man. And I'm glad we got to play that interview. But this was a really cool homestand. We got 3 really good interviews. Next homestand is going to be the last one. It's a little longer. Hopefully we get some more cool player interviews to you guys to wrap this season up. And then, when playoffs time comes around, we got lucky last year in the playoff day. We had an off day and we got a few more great interviews. So still tons of stuff left in this season to come from this podcast. Hope to see you guys on Monday at PC Richard in Astoria. PC Richard and Son in Astoria, Queens. They got a parking lot. They're right off the subway. It's really easy to get to. We're going to be giving out prizes. We got some signed baseballs, a signed Kodai Senga hat, a $500 PC Richard and Son gift card. $500. I mean, that can get you, if you want to get a really nice TV, that's going to really put a nice dent in it. So we really hope to see you guys
I had
there.
that.
Yeah, no, you should have waited and entered the competition.
I don't know if I'm allowed to.
No, probably not. But yeah,
probably not.
It's going to be sick. And we couldn't do the show without our lovely friends at PC Richard and Son.
That's a fact. And I'm going to sing their praises once again because last night, Tuesday night, I watched the first 5 innings of the Met game on one of the TVs I just got from PC Richard and Son upstairs. And then I went to the basement and watched on the second TV I got from PC Richard and Son. And boy, oh boy, not only did I get a great price, I had the friendliest, most knowledgeable sales staff with me on my side, helping me make the right selections for my needs, but the installation, the white glove service was even better. I walk in, everything's on the wall, mounted perfectly, no smudges on the screen, no fingerprints, which I inspected, I looked for. It was all fantastic. It's true.
Why would you do that?
Because I don't want smudges on my new screens. That's why.
Were you going to call them out on it if they did?
I would have probably had to get the spritz.
Okay, I thought you were just looking for a fight that day.
No, No, but I mean, you know, like if you're going to install the TV, you got to do the proper job.
I did get a text from, this has nothing to do with PC. Well, it does, because we talked about Blackstones on our last PC Richard read, and I did get a text from Gabe that he was really entertained by the Blackstone banter.
Well, I'm confused on Blackstone versus Grill.
Blackstone is a slate, isn't it?
No, I know what the products are. Which one is better for my needs?
Oh,
Blackstone or Grill? Because technically you could put the griddle-ish attachment in a grill.
yeah.
So you could kind of have both, but it's not that simple, and they get very dirty very easily. I like my Blackstone, or not my Blackstone. Blackstones I've used. I really thoroughly enjoy using them, and they're pretty easy to clean.
You want to look at them on Monday when we're there?
I might go ahead and pull the trigger on one, quite frankly, when I'm there on Monday. Because, you know, I think that you could probably cook outside until really, I don't think the season ever ends, honestly.
Cooking outside? No, because I cooked outside I cook on my balcony sometimes.
Well, that's illegal. First of all, it doesn't get colder than like 45 degrees anymore.
And like if you got
never going to snow again in New York substantially.
If you got the grill going, that is a heater.
Yeah, and like I'm not standing outside the whole time, but there is something nice about.
Dude, you got a backyard now. You should get one of those like restaurant grade heaters from PC Richard and Son too.
I might. We'll see. Don't tempt me. But anyway, they did a great job with everything. There was no smudges on the television. Pristine, perfectly mounted, perfectly centered. They did the math of the wall, the circumference, not circumference, not a circle, the diameter, the width, the height. It was perfect. And they will take care of you the way they took care of me. So make sure you check out your local PC Richard and Son store, because they're the absolute best, and they've been doing it for longer than anybody else in the game since 1909. Their slogan is Richard is reliable. Take it from us. Take it from me. That is 100% the truth. I also got my JBL speaker, which love that thing. I'd be blasting some good Charlotte, some Sum 41. That's what I've been on recently.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You like Oasis?
Not as much as you. I only know one song.
There's so many. I mean,
I only know Wonderwall.
You heard me and Brendan going deep this week.
I only know Wonderwall.
You should get into them. You got a nice speaker.
Get into them. They've been gone for 20 years.
But they're back now.
They just decided to come back, and all of a sudden I should be a slave to getting into them? No.
You know what I know that we both like? Third Eye Blind.
I do like Third Eye Blind.
Yeah.
I like Third Eye Blind a lot. But yeah, I've been on the like late 90s, early to mid 2000s, like pop punk.
Nice.
Yep.
And the JBL speaker.
Papa Roach.
You've been on a Papa Roach kick for a while.
I'm telling you, it's part of it.
What about Nickelback? Now that Jonah Tong comes out to Nickelback.
Yeah, Creed.
Do you know that Jonah Tong's intro, his walk-up song, was the one-time theme song to Monday Night Raw?
Yeah, I didn't know that. But football starts on Thursday when you guys are listening to this.
We got to figure out.
You said Monday night.
We got to figure out the draft. If this league is happening.
We could just do a weekly thing, a little DFS contest.
I don't know how to set that up. You might have to take charge of that. We'll figure it out. By the time this is out, there will be a decision on the Meet at the Apple Fantasy Football League, because we do want to get
ticking.
I know.
We're kicking off. We're kicking off in like 25 hours from 26 hours from the recording here.
I had a rough day, John. I was on the shoulder of the Grand Central Parkway for an hour today as cars whizzed by me.
It's not a place you want to be.
No, it was not. But
you didn't get your car from PC Richardson, obviously.
No, I did not. If I did, it would be Richard is reliable. PC Richardson would have met me on the road, fixed my car, and got me on my way. But want to thank you guys for listening. And guess what? We're going to see all of you beautiful people Monday night at PC Richardson in Astoria, Queens. See you there.